Hey, it's Mike at Easy Guitar Theory. We're going to look at what I call the musical alphabet, sometimes known as the chromatic scale, and we're going to look at it going up the neck on the A string today. Well, we're going to do a really cool lesson today. I mean, this is getting into some serious stuff on music theory. If you want to learn, how people have been writing music for the last several hundred years, and if you want to be able to go beyond that, well, you can, experiment with things that you like. You don't have to play old style music. You can create your own stuff, and I'm sure you'll probably use these techniques, whether you realize it or not, once you start putting them into your musical vocabulary. So what is the musical alphabet? My quick definition is all the notes in order. A half step is a 1-fret move and a whole step is a 2-fret move on the guitar. These notes are given name using the letters A through G of the English alphabet, with the added symbols of the number sign being sharp and a lowercase b being flat. We'll get into more detail on that later. I mentioned a half step. Well, that is anytime you move 1 fret on guitar. So if I go from open to 1st fret, that's a half step on any string. If I go to 1st fret to 2nd fret, that's a half step. 7th fret to 8th fret, that's a half step. A whole step is twice that, anytime you move 2 frets. So if I go from open to 2nd fret, that's a whole step. If I go from 2nd fret to 4th fret, that's a whole step. 1st fret to 3rd fret. Anytime I skip a fret, that's a whole step. So to give you an example of sharps and flats, we're going to look at the open A string, the 5th string, which is an A. By the way, this is a mid-60s Epiphone, American made, that I salvaged and had redone, not like it used to be, but just made playable. So this guitar used to have a big Bakelite, which is kind of like the predecessor to plastic, a big pick guard that ran around all through here and had a single coil pickup in here. I was never that big of a fan of the sound of that guitar with that single coil pickup. It seemed kind of thin. So this guitar did not have that pickup anymore. It was gone. There's been some routing work done that luckily you can't see most of it now. It's covered up by the pickup and this pick guard here, and then I had a little, it's just all I have is a volume control, so no tone or anything. It's just a bare bones little short scale full hollow body guitar from the 66 or 67, I'm not exactly sure what year, made in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So this is an American made Epiphone guitar. Because that note is an A note, that's how I start the musical alphabet, on A. A lot of people may start it on C for good reason, but we're just starting on A because it's the first letter of the English alphabet, so I start on A. And plus it's the open 5th string is an A. Okay, so if you go up a half step from that A to 1st fret on 5th string, that note can be called A sharp or B flat, depending upon what key you're in. Just one note, 2 names. Another half step up, 2nd fret, that's a B note. Now here we have a special spot. There's only one other place in the musical alphabet like this. If you move to 3rd fret from 2nd fret, you got a B note on 2nd fret, you move to 3rd fret, that's a C note. And you'll notice that if you play a C chord, that's the top note of that chord. Interestingly, B and C are right next to each other. There's no sharp or flat in between them, and that is something that I'm going to ask you to memorize. I try to reduce memory work. That's part of my technique, is to making theory and stuff easier, is to reduce some of the memory works. But there's still going to be some things you have to remember. So we're on 3rd fret with a C note right there. We're going to move that up one more half step, so that is C sharp or D flat, basically the note in between C and D. So if I move up one more fret, what do you think that note is? D. So now you can see there's a pattern developing. All right, so the next note, we're going to go from 5th fret to 6th fret. Now we have D sharp or E flat, so that's the note in between D and E. Then the next note up, that's an E. Okay, here's our other important spot, E and F, right next to each other. That's E, F on 8th fret. Then we're going to move up to 9th fret, F sharp or G flat. Then we're going to move up to 10th fret, that's a G. Then One more half step, that's G sharp or A flat on 11th fret. Ooh, almost feeding back. One more fret up, we are on 12th fret. Notice we have the double dots. Well, that is an A note. So you've gone all the way from the A open to the next octave up of an A on 12th fret on the 5th string. Now you can find that in other places on the strings down here, but I want you to see that going on one string. You're going chromatically through the musical alphabet, all through the notes, and then it just starts over. So your 12th fret A, 13th fret A sharp or B flat, 14th fret B. B and C are right next to each other. C, another fret, C sharp or D flat, that's 16th fret, 17th fret, and so on, right? Just so y'all are aware, all the details to this lesson and all the other videos that you've seen are on my Patreon page free. You'll find more details and the lesson plans with stuff that you may not even see in the videos, so it'll be really helpful for you. I'll have a link in the description. These 12 notes repeat over and over throughout the spectrum of audible notes and even beyond that. So the most important thing out of that is to memorize that B and C and E and F are always right next to each other. Every other note is going to have a sharp or flat in between it. So that gives you a pathway around the fretboard. If you look at a piano, the white keys are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and the black keys are your sharps and your flats. But you'll see that there's two spots where there are two white keys that are right next to each other. Those two spots are B and C and E and F. On guitar, it's a little more linear, just straight up, half steps. Piano has advantages and guitar has advantages, and we'll talk about those as time goes on. The next thing we're going to look at is the chromatic scale from A to A. I was watching a video with Victor Wooten recently, and he mentioned, letting people kind of find their own way around. So I want to give you the chromatic scale. That gives you all the notes. Now that, we've already looked at a major scale if you've seen that lesson. The chromatic scale is kind of a scale, but it's just half steps, complete half steps. So we're going to play the open 5th string, then we're going to play 1st fret 5th string, then we're going to play 2nd fret 5th string, then we're going to play 3rd fret 5th string, then we're going to play 4th fret 5th string, then we're going to play open 4th string, then we're going to play 1st fret 4th string, then 2nd fret 4th string, 3rd fret 4th string, 4th fret 4th string, open 3rd string, 1st fret 3rd string, and 2nd fret 3rd string. So you're staying in first position, you're using finger equals fret. Those are all of the notes. So that was the chromatic scale from A to A, and we looked at it in two different ways. First, you saw it going up on the A string from open A to 12th fret A. Then we looked at it in first position, where you can play it without having to move your hand all the way up. You can play things faster if you use all your strings. So, so that was in first position. But the scale is everywhere, up and down the fretboard, up here, this way. Be sure and check out Easy Guitar Theory on Patreon, because we got free lesson plans for download. You can check them out on there, or you can download them if you'd rather do that. But I've got it all on there too. It's all free. I'm Mike from Easy Guitar Theory. Thank you guys for checking in, and I'll see you on the next one.